You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, Please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, Please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking. You've successfully joined the webcast. Our program will begin shortly. If you're presenting today and joining this meeting on Zoom, please note that all Zoom attendees are muted when entering, and you'll need to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. For voice-only callers, please unmute your phone as well as pressing *6 to unmute your mic on Zoom before speaking.
Well, good morning, everybody. Again, my name is Kevin Law, and as chair, I'll call to order the meeting of the directors of the New York State Urban Development Corporation, doing business as Empire State Development, for Thursday, July 23rd, 2026. Staff members joining us today, please unmute your phones or your audio until you're ready to speak. The public was given an opportunity to attend today's meeting and to provide any comments on the agenda item. I do not believe we have any members from the public here today. And they also were given the opportunity to comment on the agenda items by submitting their written comments by noon yesterday. And we have not received any comments on any of the items on today's agenda. Of course, all the directors have received the written materials in advance of today's meeting, and are free to ask staff members questions at any time during the presentations. I'd like to go around the room right now. First, let's have the directors identify themselves so I could recognize a quorum so we can conduct business.
John Wong, Director.
Lorraine Harris, Director.
Kevin Yunus, I'm designee for ESD President Night today.
Okay, thanks. Hilda.
Hilda Sánchez, Director. Martha Lees, designee for Acting Superintendent Caitlin Asrow.
And joining us from Western New York.
Morning, Francine Del Monte, Director.
Hi, thank you, Francine. Good to see you. Okay, so we certainly have a quorum. Hope sends her regrets. She had to do some traveling today, so she will not be joining us, but Mr. Yunus will be filling in for her. So now I'd like to start with the rest of the executive team here and the staff.
Liz Luskin, EVP, Small Business and Technology Development.
Simone Bethune, Senior Director, Homes and Codes.
Joshua Breitbart, Senior Vice President, Connect All.
Selena Gul Mohammed, Senior Program Manager for Connect All.
Gabriella Christie, Program Manager for Connect All.
Sylvia Kuzani, System Vice President, New York Ventures.
John Evan Hornsby, President, Empire State Market Corporation.
Alessandro Mordini, Senior Project Manager, New York City Regional Office.
Andrew Fletcher, Senior Deputy Director, New York City Regional Office.
Tony D'Alessio, Controller, Deputy CFO.
Carolina, Chief Finance Officer.
Tremaine Wright, Director of Compliance.
Benson Martin, Deputy General Counsel.
Joshua Bloodworth, General Counsel.
Adam Bellini, VP of the Life Sciences Initiative.
Loretta Vine, Senior Director of SBD.
All right, good. Well, welcome and thank you, everybody. Benson, our former colleague on the board, now Deputy General to Josh. Benson, congratulations and thank you for your years of participation and service on the board. Let's give Benson a round of applause. Last time we had some summer interns with us. Do we have any interns today? Okay, why don't you stand up and introduce yourself? What school are you going to and what team are you working with?
Hi, I'm Elaine. I'm a rising junior at Columbia. I'm under the global team, so sending support for Loretta, and it's been a wonderful experience. So thank you all so much for everything you've given us.
Great, well, welcome. And who else do we have? Anybody else? Any other interns? No? Okay, well, good, welcome. And the rest of the team here, thank you. Okay, so at this time, I'll ask if any directors have any potential conflicts of interest with respect to any agenda items today.
I had item 3A and B, the Hispanic Federation.
All right, so Hilda will recuse herself on that matter. Any other recusals or abstentions? Okay, hearing none, we will go with right to the agenda. And the first item is the approval of the minutes of June 25th, 2026. They've been circulated. I will move them. John seconds them. Any comments, additions, or revisions? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. The minutes are approved. We have a corporate action item today. John Connors, Deputy Director of ESD's Finger Lakes Region, I believe is on the phone. John?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Law. Good morning, Directors. Today we are asking you to authorize the adoption of program guidelines for the implementation and administration of the Rochester Monroe Transformation Initiative, or RMTI, which was passed in the FY27 New York State budget. Announced by Governor Hochul, RMTI continues the impactful investments that are made by New York State in the greater Rochester area. As part of RMTI, ESD will invest up to $225 million in capital grant funding to support transformative projects in the areas of strategic placemaking, adaptive reuse, innovation, infrastructure, and public safety. This investment is intended to reactivate underutilized sites, strengthen connections to the Genesee River, and support projects that foster safe and vibrant neighborhoods. Upon approval of the guidelines today, potential grantees may submit an application through the CFA portal to request this program funding. Applications will be managed by our Finger Lakes Regional Office, and awards will be made on a rolling basis until funds are exhausted. The minimum request is $2 million with a total minimum project cost of $5 million. So with that, I will pause for any questions. Thank you.
Good. Anybody have any questions for John on these guidelines? None. We don't have any comments from the public on this item. So I will move it. Lorraine seconds it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Thank you, John. Time for our spotlight presentation, and with us today we have Loretta Bine, our Senior Director of Industry Development, and Adam Volini, our Executive Director, VP, Life Sciences and Strategic Partnerships. And Loretta, did I just meet you at Verizon?
Yes,
recently?
Actually.
That was you.
I think you were shopping for something for your mom, and
Yes. My mom's going to be 97, and I got her a new iPhone 17 because her other one was broke, and she's texted me every day, and so I said, you have to make it to 100 now because I bought the 3-year plan. And so, very good. So yes, I saw you there.
and we got what we needed, so we were fine. So
Very good. So what are you and your colleague going to tell us about today?
yeah, about biotech and life sciences. So thank you so much. It's good to see you, Chairman, and thank you, directors and ESD colleagues. I'm happy to provide you with an overview of how the Strategic Business Development Division works to support the biotech and life sciences industry. Strategic Business Development is ESD's industry-focused team. There are about 14 of us on the team, and each is focused on a portfolio of strategically important growth sectors in the state, such as foreign direct investment, materials processing, industrial, machinery and systems. So day to day, our team works to maintain relationships with key employers across the state. We help existing companies in New York to invest here and to increase their New York State workforce. We also work to attract new businesses from out of the state and out of the country to establish and to grow here. When I speak to life sciences companies about New York State, I introduce them to programs from the Strategic Business Division, from our regional offices, and then we also delve into the resources that are available from New York Ventures, NISTAR, and the Life Sciences Initiative. So first on the list is the New York Ventures. The fund invests in companies that solve large problems using innovative technologies, including health tech, life sciences, and ag systems. These companies to commit to generating new jobs in New York State. Later on in this meeting, we'll hear from Sylvia Codney, AVP of New York State Ventures Capital Fund. She'll present a project to the directors for approval. The next box down describes NYSTAR a bit. NYSTAR is a division that supports innovation and manufacturing and all kinds of things across the state. Recently, NYSTAR created a program called the Innovation Matching Grant Program. It is aimed to grow small businesses and to support the development of new technology in New York State by providing matching funds for federal small business innovation research and small business technology transfer grants. The last box on the list is our tax credit programs, tailored for life sciences programs. New York State's Life Sciences R&D tax credit program provides up to a 20% credit for qualified R&D expenses. These expenses are like those allowed under the existing federal R&D tax credit. Through June 2026, tax credits of approximately $27 million have been issued to over 121 New York State life sciences companies, with total qualified expenses of nearly $206 million, and is set aside under New York State Life Sciences Initiative, which we'll hear about from my partner Adam in a few. This is the Excelsior Jobs Program, allocated $100 million towards a $10 million per year Excelsior tax credit set aside for life sciences companies, with the job creation requirement lowered to 5 to accommodate early stage life science companies. To date, 6 companies have received awards totaling approximately $8.5 million in credits, and these companies are expected to create approximately 300 jobs.
And these are both federal and state tax credits? Or are they just state tax credits?
Those initiatives are from the state. So before, I was talking about some of the federal funds that are awarded to companies, and then we did the matching grant part of NYSTAR. So the state follows along with what the federal program is doing to make New York State companies more competitive.
Right. So we make investments, we offer tax credits, and we also make grants to help the life sciences industries.
Exactly right.
All right. Good.
Thanks, Loretta. And I'm Adam Vellini, and I lead the Life Sciences Initiative. So the photo you see on the slide is me and Loretta, along with key members of New York's academic medical institutions, private companies, and strategic investors at the Bio International Convention, where we represented the state's life sciences capabilities to a global audience. Now, the Life Sciences Initiative itself is a suite of programs catalyzing New York's commercial life sciences ecosystem and accelerating transition from research to market, ensuring that biotech advances deliver economic benefits to New York State. Now, as Loretta said, life sciences is one of New York's most strategic industries. And while that was true when the initiative launched in 2017, today this sector has taken on even greater importance as a matter of national security, supply chain resilience, advanced manufacturing. And thanks to New York's strengths in research, AI, manufacturing, and workforce, we're exceptionally well positioned to take advantage of this next era of growth.
So New York State's definition of life sciences is a broad one, including pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer, biotech companies like Regeneron, and medical device companies like Henry Schein. New York is home to many prestigious private, nonprofit, high-technology biotech and biomedical research institutes like Long Island's Cold Spring Harbor Laboratories, notable for its foundational discoveries in genetics and in neuroscience. And across the state, in Buffalo, Roswell Park's Comprehensive Cancer Center, offering integrated care for cancer types and designated by the National Care Institute as a comprehensive cancer center. New York State and California are the states with the most amount of National Cancer Institutes. New York State has 8 designated NCIs. So statistics you see on the slides highlight the importance of the industry and how competitive New York State needs to be to retain and attract the industry. In 2026, New York State is the #1 in the Northeast in STEM graduates. New York State is #2 in residents, scientists, and engineers, and #3 in bioscience patents, with more than 12,000 bioscience patents that were approved between 2019 and 2023. So when I speak to life sciences companies about expanding or establishing, these statistics are important to them. They're important factors for them to make decisions about where to be. The companies on this slide show the tremendous variety and clout of the industry in New York State. We find that a key to continued growth is to maintain close relationships. So ESD has directly engaged with many of these large firms on strategic reinvestment that comes from the regional offices as well as strategic business division. So here, headquartered in Tarrytown, Regeneron Pharmaceuticals, founded in Queens, New York in 1988, Regeneron operates in 12 countries and employs over 15,000 people globally, and they're a great partner to New York. Amneal is the second largest pharma maker in New York State. The company employs roughly 650 people on Long Island. Pfizer was founded in New York City over 100 years ago. They recently moved their headquarters to the Spiral at New York City in Hudson Yards. This New York brand has a market cap of $139.3 billion, and they employ 81,000 employees worldwide.
Thanks, Loretta. And before we leave the slide, I just want to emphasize just how many industry leaders are operating here in New York. And then I want to zoom in on two of them, because a few weeks ago, it was announced that two New York companies, Regeneron and Amneal, were awarded a designation in FDA's PreCheck pilot program, which is expedites the development of manufacturing facilities. So these are exactly the kind of experiences that we want to be able to have here in New York and continue to expand. So the $620 million Life Sciences Initiative, as I mentioned, has been catalyzing New York's commercial life sciences ecosystem by accelerating translation from research to market. Founded in 2017 to address critical gaps in the commercial life sciences ecosystem, this transformational investment is helping to bring the talent, infrastructure, and capital needed to translate the work of our world-class academic medical centers, universities, and research institutions into durable companies that can start here, scale here, and stay here. In 2023, our updated strategic plan focused on bigger bets, on more validated opportunities. So just highlighting a few, with Excelsior Sciences, ESD is funding $25 million of a $50 million program leveraging artificial intelligence, machine learning, and robotics to automate the basic chemistry of drug discovery. Now, this has implications across affordability, supply chain resilience, domestic manufacturing, and economic development. And in the area of cell and gene therapy, ESD is convening more than $500 million in public-private investments across our hubs in Buffalo and Long Island, helping position the state as a global leader in advanced therapies. So together, these investments are designed to de-risk innovation, crowd in private capital, and connect our regional life sciences clusters across the state. 3 new programs were announced in Governor Hochul's State of the State address and the FY 2026 budget, representing more than $65 million in new investments. These initiatives build on recommendations from Governor Hochul's Emerging Technology Advisory Board on Biotechnology, as well as our 2023 strategic plan, which identified commercialization, neurodegenerative disease, and clinical trials as areas where New York has unique opportunity to lead nationally. We're now translating those recommendations into concrete programs that will strengthen New York's commercialization ecosystem, and we'll be rolling out additional program details in the coming months. So to recap, New York is already a life sciences leader. We support today's industries. We're building the nation's premier commercialization ecosystem to capture the next generation of opportunities. And our goal is simple: to ensure the next generation of life-changing discoveries is not only invented in New York, but commercialized, manufactured, and scaled here as well. thank you for your time. Happy to take any questions.
Great, thank you, Adam. Adam, did you replace Maria Mitchell?
Correct.
Okay, good. And then Liz, are you part of this team or you have a separate team? Now,
So my division has 5 subdivisions, and one of them is the Life Science Initiative. One is Venture, one is NYSTAR, one is Capital Access, and one is Entrepreneur Development.
and then what's your department called?
Small Business and Technology Development.
Oh, and so life sciences comes under that.
Right.
Got it. All right, very good. And NYSTAR used to be its own separate agency or part of NYSERDA or?
No, it began as a separate research foundation, and then went through various iterations, right? And made its way into ESD and into this division.
Yeah, it was a separate authority about a decade ago.
So it was a separate authority?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it, but now it's a division under your team.
And it's good because the synergies between life science, NYSTAR, Venture, Entrepreneur, it enables really good collaboration and allowing us to do more across the life cycle of these companies as they develop.
Right, and then Ben is heading up NYSTAR now?
Yes.
Got it. Last question for you, either Loretta or Adam. I've been reading lately how the life sciences industry is actually struggling, and life sciences facilities in Boston, they're actually converting space that was designated for life sciences to housing. Because the demand for the life sciences space wasn't there, and the demand for housing was there. Is that accurate, and are we facing or seeing anything like that here in terms of space?
It is a complicated issue. Yes, everyone is looking for more housing, but I think some of the life sciences companies that are developing and expanding today don't need wet lab space. So I think what you're reading about is basically the wet lab space is abundant now, where before that was a critical way to move life sciences companies forward. A lot of things are done with computers and AI and things like that now. So the wet lab space is not as critical, so that's maybe why there's an overabundance.
And how about wet lab space in New York? I know on Long Island, there was always talk from Cold Spring Harbor saying we have a shortage of wet lab space. So, but the whole, New York State as a whole, do we have a decent amount of it?
We do. We're well positioned to take advantage of the growth in the sector. I think the life sciences industry experienced a bit of a slowdown over the last 2 or 3 years, but since the beginning of 2026, we've been on a bit of a steady uptick. We've seen a lot more investment and excitement around the sector as a whole. So,
Great. Any other questions from any of the directors? Again, I say this often, always fascinated at all the neat stuff that ESD is involved with and does, and this sounds exciting, terrific, and it's great to see again we're making grants, investments, and tax credits. So really doing a lot to supporting the industry because I know it's competitive. So thanks for the presentation, and good luck as you continue to carry it out.
thank you, Chairman.
All right, great. All right, so we will now continue with the agenda and go to the regional projects section. And we'll start in Western New York, where we have Erin Carrero, our Deputy Director for Western New York.
Hi, thank you, Chairman Law, and good morning, directors. The directors are requested to approve 2 grants, each $450,000, for a total of $900,000 to the Jamestown Center City Development Corporation, awarded through Round 11 and Round 14 Regional Council Capital Funds. The Jamestown Center City Development Corporation, or JCCDC, is a nonprofit organization in Jamestown, New York, focused on community and economic vitality. JCCDC sought to utilize underused space in the Northwest Arena to create The Zone, a children's museum and activity center designed to merge technology and play with the global of furthering STEAM, science, technology, engineering, the arts, and mathematics, learning, and physical activity. JCCDC was originally awarded $450,000 through Round 11, but due to financing constraints and the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, the project stalled. The organization was subsequently awarded an additional $450,000 through Round 14. Total project costs are $4.5 million and has led to the creation of 4 new full-time jobs. The project is now complete, and I attended a ribbon cutting on July 10th. With that, I'll take questions.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Erin? No comments from the public. So I will move it. Francine seconds it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Thank you, Erin. I'll move over to the Finger Lakes region. John Connors, Deputy Director.
Thank you. We are asking the directors to approve a capital grant of $1.4 million to the Cornell Agriculture and Food Technology Park Corporation for a $3.5 million project from round 14 of the Regional Council Capital Fund. The corporation is a 501c3 nonprofit with a mission to foster the creation, retention, and expansion of agriculture, food, and related research and development to benefit the New York economy. The grant supports a portion of the cost to construct the corporation's Tech Farm 2 expansion in the city of Geneva in Ontario County. The 20,000 square foot multi-tenant light manufacturing facility doubles the park's current capacity, and that further bolsters agribusiness innovation in the Finger Lakes. The project was completed in November of 2025, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions for John? None. No comments or questions from the public, so I will move it. Hilda seconds it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you. Let's go over to Dan Kalinsky, our Regional Director for the Central New York.
Good morning, Chairman and Directors. Today, the Board is being asked to approve an upstate revitalization grant of up to $14.7 million to Northeast UAS Airspace Integration Research Alliance Incorporated, or more commonly known as NEWAIR. NEWAIR is a not-for-profit organization founded in 2012 in response to the rapidly expanding uncrewed aerial systems, or UAS, regulatory landscape to help New York State businesses capture a portion of the new market opportunities that would be created. Growth of the UAS industry has been a centerpiece of the Upstate Revitalization Initiative strategy in Central New York and the Mohawk Valley since 2015, and the creation of NEWAIR in 2012 was a pillar of the plan for implementation. Because of this, New York State committed significant resources to NEWAIR in 2016 to build and operate our FAA-approved Beyond Visual Line of Sight, or BVLOS corridor, to lead development of New York-based UAS technology ecosystem. For this grant, NEWAIR will utilize the requested funds to transition from corridor development into full commercial deployment. As NEWAIR advances to its next phase of growth and responds to a rapidly evolving industry, it is pursuing three aligned strategic objectives. First, commercialize NEWAIR's FAA-approved surveillance as a service platform and scale New York-based products and services into national and international markets. Second, support and when needed lead in the further deployment of drones in state operations and initiate drone delivery and drone as a first responder services. And third, maintain and expand the 1,900 square mile BVLOS area of operations, supporting critical regional deployments while providing a roadmap towards statewide coverage, including expansion into the New York City TRACON region, one of the most complex airspaces in the world. For these reasons, we ask the board to approve the up to $14.7 million request that grows New York companies, creates jobs, attracts federal and private investment, and preserves New York's leadership in the future of aviation. With that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Dan. Well said. Any questions? And we don't have any comments from the public, so I will move it. Martha seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you, Dan. We'll move over to the Mohawk Valley region. We have three items, three separate votes, and Allison Madmoon, our Regional Director.
Thank you, Chairman, and good morning, Directors. This morning, the Directors will be asked to approve a Round 13 Regional Council Capital Fund grant of up to $1.6 million to be used for a portion of the cost for the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired to renovate and equip the facility at 507 Kent Street in Utica, including ADA accessibility improvements, replacing the roof and boilers, renovation of manufacturing and office space, and installation of solar panels and green space on the roof. The Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired assists people who are legally blind or visually impaired in manufacturing, packaging, and service roles, producing goods for state and federal government customers through the New York State Preferred Source Program and the Federal Ability One program. The total project cost for this is $18.2 million, and the project is consistent with the MVREDC's strategy to support manufacturing projects that incorporate green, sustainable practices and create jobs for underserved populations. And I'd be happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Allison on this? None. And no comments from the public, so I will move it. John seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Continue.
The second project the directors are being asked to approve is an Upstate Revitalization Initiative 2023 Challenges Working Capital Grant of up to $550,000 to be used for a portion of the cost for working capital and academic support for STEM camps around the Mohawk Valley. Griffith Institute is a nonprofit talent and technology accelerator for the United States Department of Defense and an international network of academic, government, and industry partners. Through this MV Empowered Working Capital Grant, they are providing high-quality STEM camps to the Mohawk Valley's communities, developing the next generation of STEM talent and defense technologies that will strengthen the U.S. national security and create economic opportunity for the region, state, and the nation. Total project cost is $611,000, and this project is consistent with the MVRAD's strategy to advance the K-12 workforce development pipeline for advanced technologies. And I'd be happy to take any questions.
Okay, thank you. Don't see any questions. No comments from the public, so I will move it. Lorraine seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Allison, last item.
The last project the directors are being asked to approve is an Upstate Revitalization Initiative 2023 Challenges Working Capital Grant of up to $549,000 to be used for a portion of the cost for working capital expenses for Fulton County Center for Regional Growth Expertise Project, a workforce development project funded by Mohawk Valley Empowers program. The Fulton County Center for Regional Growth is a nonprofit economic development organization based in Gloversville, providing workforce development, financial, and technical assistance to the communities in Fulton County. Expertise Project is a subscription-based employer discovery platform designed to enrich educational classrooms in middle and high schools, BOCES, and tech educational programs in 2- and 4-year colleges. Through ESC's assistance, the Expertise Project will expand to reach over 64,000 community members, accomplishing its mission of helping bridge the gap between the world of work and education that occurs in communities using virtual reality. The total project cost is $697,000, and the project is consistent with MVRADC's goal to strengthen the K-12 workforce pipeline. And I'd be happy to take any questions.
Any questions? Don't see any. No comments from the public, so I will move it. Francine seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you, Allison.
Thank you.
Move over to the Capital Region, Mike Yeverly, our Regional Director.
Good morning. Good morning. Today I'm requesting the directors approve 3 grants totaling $3.1 million for the Troy Savings Bank Music Hall for a portion of the costs associated with the renovation and expansion of the theater into a hub for arts and cultural events in the building at 30 to 32 2nd Street in the city of Troy in Rensselaer County. The total project cost is approximately $15.3 million. The Troy Savings Bank Music Hall is a performing arts space in Troy, built by the Troy Savings Bank as a gift to the community in 1875. The music hall serves as an anchor cultural institution in the capital region. In April 2025, ESD signed an incentive proposal with the grantee agreeing to pay for a portion of the cost of renovating the historic building using 3 grants, as mentioned. Regional Council Capital Fund, $1.1 million, Market New York for $500,000, and Downtown Revitalization Initiative funding at $1.5 million. Specifics of the project include a complete overhaul and upgrade of the historic building's HVAC, fire safety, and power delivery system, installation of a freight elevator, and the addition of 4 new restrooms. Renovation of the vacant first floor former bank space into an accessible box office and multi-use event space, classrooms, studios, meeting rooms, and lounges with concessions. The project is consistent with CREDC's play strategy to leverage community revitalization and development and to drive investment vibrancy and industry diversification. Happy to answer any questions.
Yeah. Mike, who's owning and operating the new theater? Is it a not-for-profit?
Yeah, it's been a not-for-profit since 1979. It's called the Troy Savings Bank Music Hall Corporation.
Uh-huh. Great. Anybody have any questions for Mike? None. Don't have any comments from the public either. So I will move it. Hilda seconds it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The motion carries. And Mike, if Noah hasn't reached out to you already, the other day I got asked if we could have somebody from ESD participate in some roundtable in Saratoga. And so Noah and I nominated you. And so you'll probably hear from Noah on that soon.
Thank you. I already have in the contact with the organizer, so all
Great.
set.
All right, thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so let's go over to the southern tier. We have two projects. We have three presenters for two projects. I don't know how that works, but let's play with it. Now, Omar Sanders, our regional director.
Thank you, Chairman, and good morning, directors. Today, we are asking the directors to approve funds in the amount of $953,000 to support the restoration of the former Groton Hotel, a community landmark located in the Village of Groton downtown area. Empire State Development Funds will support facade improvements and interior renovations, including supporting infrastructure, HVAC, electric and plumbing upgrades, and external stairway and restoration of fixtures. In July of 2025, the project sponsor, Ardidio LLC, was awarded a New York Forward grant in the amount of $953,000 to assist with renovation efforts that amount to $1,468,476 in total project cost. The project is now complete, and as a result, this once vacant property is now a vibrant anchor mixed-use development project in the community, offering 7 fully furnished market-rate apartments and a fully equipped restaurant. And I'm happy to take any questions at this time. Thank you.
Right. Sounds good. Repurposing a good site. Any questions for Omar? None. No comments from the public, so I will move it. Martha seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. What else you got up in the southern tier region, Omar? We have Stefan Fleming and Jeff Januszewski. Do we?
That's correct. I think Stefan is going to present the next proposal.
Okay. Stefan, are you on mute? All right. Omar, why don't you check out what's happening with them? We're going to go on to the next item, and you can let me know if you found Stefan or Jeff. Are we having technical difficulties?
Kevin, I'll check on that if you want to go on to the next,
All right.
Mid-Hudson region.
Okay, let's go to the Mid-Hudson region. We have two items, two separate votes. Linda Malavi, oops,
Good morning. Can you all hear me okay?
is that Linda?
Yeah, it's Linda's on. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, yes, we can.
Okay. Good morning, Chairman Law and Directors. First project the directors are being asked to approve is a $750,000 Regional Council Capital Grant Fund from Round 4 for the Hudson River Valley Resorts Capital Infrastructure Project in the town of Rosendale in Ulster County. Hudson River Valley Resorts, LLC, invested $11.7 million to undertake infrastructure work for phase 1 of a multi-phase project which will adaptively reuse the former Williams Lake Hotel on a 798-acre property in the town of Rosendale. Ultimately, the construction will transform an underutilized site into a resort, spa, and residential community. The phase 1 infrastructure project is now complete. This project aligns with MHRADC's LIVE strategy, which prioritizes community revitalization through placemaking, infrastructure improvements, and expanded housing options, as well as a place strategy which seeks to promote the Mid-Hudson as a premier tourist destination. And with that, I am happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, was the former hotel vacant and, or was it just underutilized?
That is correct. It has been vacant. It was in operation from 1929 to 2006, so vacant for quite a while.
Wow, great, looks pretty. Any questions for Linda? None, no comments from the public, so I will move it. John seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Linda, what else you got?
The second project is the BF Apartments. The directors are being asked to approve a $4,780,000 grant from Round 1 of our Mid-Hudson Momentum Fund for a portion of the cost associated with the new construction of BF Apartments in the city of Kingston in Ulster County. BF Apartments LLC invested $24,050,000 for the development of a new construction 100-unit mixed-use, mixed-income project with 20 units set aside as affordable, building on a key corridor in Midtown Kingston. The project also includes 3,000 square feet of street-level retail on the first floor of the apartment building, as well as additional shared community space and the restoration of a vacant 21,000 square foot warehouse, which is currently leased out as a thrift shop. This project is complete and aligns with MHRADC's LIVE strategy, which prioritizes community revitalization through placemaking, infrastructure improvements, and expanded housing option. And again, happy to answer any questions you may have.
Good. Thank you, Linda. Any questions? None. No comments from the public either. So I will move it. Lorraine seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you, Linda. Are we going back to, thank you. Are we going back to Stefan yet? Is Stefan there? Oop. Yes?
Yes.
Stefan is there?
Yes.
Stefan, can we hear you?
Hi,
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we do.
Apologies for that earlier. I was in, but I was not muted. I was not unmuted. Thank you, Chairman, and good morning. Today we are asking the directors to approve 2 grants totaling $12 million, a $5 million capital grant, and a $7 million working capital grant for Vine Enterprises LLC to purchase and redevelop Pleasant Valley Winery in Hammondsport, Steuben County. Pleasant Valley is the second oldest and second largest winery in New York State, operating since 1860 until last year, when the longtime owner exited the business. The sprawling campus of 115 acres and 21 buildings is in immediate need of redevelopment and investment to bring the facility into the 21st century. Vine Enterprises also owns Cayuga Spring Vineyards and Winery in Penn Yan and is proposing to invest $47 million and create 69 jobs at the Pleasant Valley Winery site. To add context to this project, historically, Pleasant Valley Winery's industrial operations were able to press and process thousands of tons of grapes each year and manufacture, process, package, and store wine from those grapes for themselves and for dozens of businesses in the Finger Lakes each year. They were an asset to the winery and vineyard communities, able to offer not only business services on an industrial scale to more than 100 businesses, but were also an eager purchaser of thousands of tons of grapes from surrounding vineyards for the brands they owned. Last fall was the first harvest in at least 30 years that Pleasant Valley didn't buy grapes or offer those services, forcing businesses to find other options to manufacture their wine and forcing many farmers to leave grapes hanging on the vine. Harvest 2026 will start next month, and the Pleasant Valley facility currently does not have power or water going to it. If a plan is not in place soon and contracts aren't being negotiated this year, next year an unknown number of vineyard and winery operations will likely close their operations altogether for good. Vine Enterprises plans to purchase the business and property and start redevelopment immediately. They plan to sign contracts with the growers as soon as this fall and get the grape press pad operational as quickly as possible. Their major goals are to start producing Pleasant Valley Winery's legacy brands, as well as packaged grape food products and other innovative beverage products. One of the proprietary products that they plan on producing will bring technology and equipment that is currently only available in Europe and the state of Virginia to the heart of the Finger Lakes. These operations will require that they purchase thousands of tons of New York State grown grapes from local vineyards every year. Lastly, they plan to rehabilitate and reopen the historic champagne cellars in the original Pleasant Valley Winery buildings, some of which do date back to 1860. This project is before you today because it is imperative that the facility gets up and running as quickly as possible. While it's likely already too late for this year's harvest, it is of utmost importance that New York's farmers maintain their vineyards and sign contracts that will help them invest in next season's harvest. Any further delay will cause further long-term harm to the state's wine industry and result in this historic piece of our state's winery heritage falling further into disrepair. Thank you, and Jeff and I would be happy to take any questions.
Yeah, thanks, Stefan and Jeff. Question for you. The parts of the facilities that may jointly be used by other vineyards, is that sort of common up there, or do most vineyards have their own facilities?
Most, well, a lot of vineyards have their own winery facilities and their own winery operations, but there are many, many vineyard operations that have no winery operations. And for the past 30 plus years, many of those vineyards relied on Pleasant Valley to do literally the entire process for them, from crushing the grapes to bottling, packaging, and then shipping out from their facilities. So it's kind of both.
Got it. And I'm just curious too, if you have different farms with different grapes for different wines, and they're all sharing the same facility, how do you avoid blending? Does it go through some type of steam cleaning before different sets of grapes or different brands of wines are being produced there?
Yes, absolutely, Chairman. It is for anyone that's making craft beverages, they will tell you about 70% of what they do is cleaning. The other 30% is making and tasting the wine.
Interesting. Good. Yeah, I like the tasting part. Very good. Okay, so it sounds like we've come a long way since Lucille Ball was stomping her feet on the grapes. I'm sorry, Jeff. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, just a technical point. On the agenda, this is listed as a regional council award. In fact, we are using regional council capital funds for the capital investment portion of this, but it was not part of the, cyclical votes by regional councils to make awards. It is in fact being drawn from funds that are left over from terminated regional council projects. The other point I wanted to make was, obviously, the directors look at this and see 69 jobs and $12 million grant. This is about the industry, not about one particular winery.
Great. Thanks for the clarification, Jeff. And no, it sounds very important, as I said, especially for next year. So with that, I will move it. Hilda seconds it. We had no comments from the public on this either. So all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Thank you. So now we've done Linda. Let's head over to our New York City region. We got Andrew Fletcher here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning. This is a request for your approval of 3 grants totaling $1,750,000 to the New York Historical Society. The 3 grants include a $1 million Regional Council Capital Fund grant and 2 Market New York capital grants totaling $750,000. These grants will be used in connection with the more than $150 million cost to construct the Tang Wing for American Democracy, a 71,000 square foot expansion to the New York Historical's existing building located at 76th Street and Central Park West in Manhattan. On the 4th floor of the Tang Wing, New York Historical has established American LGBTQ+ Museum, the nation's first museum dedicated solely to the LGBTQ+ history and culture. Additionally, the project will result in the renovation of nearly 54,000 square feet of existing space. As a result of this project, New York Historical expects to draw an additional 100,000 visitors annually. The project is now complete. I'm happy to take any questions.
Anybody have any questions for Andrew? and we don't have any comments from the public. So I will move it. Martha seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. The motion carries. I want to thank Andrew and Joe. A couple of weeks ago, they took me on a tour of the Brooklyn Navy Yard. I was blown away by it. Really, the whole yard, the history of it, and the repurposing of it, and then the new lab with all these startup companies with these incredible, bright young folks with really neat companies. One was drones for medical organ transplants, flying them from one hospital to another where the need is, and time is precious there. And then another one was robotics, a young company. I said he looked like he was younger than my sons. And he was already getting contracts with NASA, and really fascinating. So very cool. Encourage all of you to, if you haven't seen it, to get over there. So Andrew, thank you, and Joe. I don't see him here today for the time. So it was fun. I think we have your colleague, Alessandro Mordini, with another item.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, directors. This is a request for the approval of two grants, a Regional Council Capital Fund grant of $498,000 and a Market New York Capital grant of $398,000, both of which will go to Roundabout Theater Company, the nation's largest non-profit theater and an operator of 5 historic theaters in the heart of Manhattan's theater district. Roundabout was founded in 1965 in the basement of a grocery store in Chelsea, with the mission to bring new life to neglected classics. Today, the organization produces a distinctively broad repertoire of plays and musicals, reaching 400,000 audience members annually, including over 30,000 New York City public school students. Roundabout's Broadway productions have been recognized with 42 Tony Awards. This project is part of an overall $24 million renovation of the theater, with additional support from NISCA and DASNY. The two grants will be used in connection with the $4.3 million cost to renovate and furnish the 4,000 square feet Maston Foundation Hub in the flagship Todd Haynes Theater. This renovation transforms the former penthouse lobby into a state-of-the-art hall, featuring an improved floor plan, fully equipped audio and LED lighting, a new floor installation, and a kitchen for catering. The new space will enable simultaneous uses for special events, meetings, rehearsals, education programs, and costume fittings. As a result of the project, the flexible nature of the space allows for customization based on the needs of an event or production. Roundabout will no longer need to rent additional rehearsal space due to this upgrade, which will positively impact its operating expenses and support its long-term operational capabilities. The project was completed this past May 2026. Thank you.
Alessandro, is this your first time presenting to the board?
Yeah.
Are you new to ESD?
No, it was 2 years and a half. Yeah.
Okay, but this is the first time they let you out and before us. So, well, very good job, and thanks for the presentation. And I didn't think we had met before, so well done. Anybody have any questions for Alessandro? None. I love when we're investing in theaters and museums in New York City because our tourism industry is so important here. So we don't have any comments from the public either. So I will move it. John seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Thank you, Alessandro and Andrew. All right. Long Island region. We have Kara Longworth. She has two separate projects that would require two separate votes for us. Kara?
Hi, good morning, Chairman and Directors. This morning we're asking the Directors to approve a Regional Council capital grant of up to $1 million to Matinecock Court Housing Development Fund Corp. To pay for a portion of the infrastructure cost for an affordable housing development in East Northport, which is in Suffolk County. Matinecock Court is a not-for-profit real estate development company focused on building affordable housing projects. This was a Round 8 priority project for the Regional Council because it supports the need for affordable housing in the region. This project will provide 146 affordable residences reserved for families with incomes between $38,000 and $135,000. They received over 1,000 applications for these co-ops. 8 of the apartments will be reserved for people with disabilities and 5 for veterans. The total project cost was $98 million, and it was completed in December of 25, and it is currently 75% occupied. I could take any questions.
Great. Thank you, Kara. Just to add a little commentary here. This project took 4 decades, 40 years to get built. It went up, it was always opposed by the local community, and it went up to the U.S. Supreme Court twice. And when I was practicing law, I defended the town of Huntington, who was being sued because they weren't approving the project, and encouraged them to settle this. With my hat on as the Long Island Housing Partnership, 20-something years ago, we worked out a settlement that never got implemented. And what's funny is, you see how pretty it is? Folks in the community are like, oh, how do we get our son or daughter in there now? And again, just crazy. It's beautiful, it's needed. It's a shame it took so long. So, Kara, very happy to approve it. And we don't have any comments from the public on this either. So, Lorraine's going to second it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Kara, what else you got for us?
Great, thank you very much. Secondly, we're asking the developers to approve a working capital grant of up to $2 million to New Lab LLC to fund the pre-development activities for the Long Island Regional Commercialization Corridor. This was a part of the governor's Achieve competition from last summer. New Lab, as you were just mentioning, Kevin, is a private company that started in Brooklyn, in the Brooklyn Navy Yard in 2016 as a hard tech incubator and commercialization hub. Since then, they have expanded to New Orleans, Michigan, Saudi Arabia, and Uruguay, and have assisted more than 300 startup companies, which have attracted billions of dollars in venture capital and created thousands of jobs. Last fall, the Long Island Regional Economic Development Council was awarded $30 million to implement its Achieve proposal. In that competition, the Regional Council proposed to partner with New Lab to build and operate a shared manufacturing facility on Long Island that would fill a gap in the regional commercialization ecosystem to capture the innovations and technologies that are being developed in the region's incredible research institutions and universities, to support the companies as they commercialize and to establish themselves in New York State. Not only will the new companies on Long Island be supported by this facility, but existing companies that are in the Brooklyn facility would have the ability to expand for prototyping and testing their innovations and remain in New York State. This $2 million working capital will enable New Lab to select a site and design the facility, develop strategic partnerships, including potential funding partners, and develop ecosystem, including assessment of startup needs, indexing regional suppliers and manufacturing, map capabilities and identify gaps, and to select a program partner to design and launch commercialization programming targeting hard tech companies in the Long Island research institutions and universities. This first phase of this project should last about 12 months, after which we will probably be coming back to the board for the balance of the grant for the construction and operations of the facility. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great. Thank you, Kara. Anybody have any questions? None. We don't have any comments from the public either. So I will move it. Francine seconds it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you, Kara.
Thank you very much.
All right. Live and in person, we have Simone Bethune, who's going to go over some Restored New York grants.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning to everyone. The directors are being asked to approve a $960,000 Round 6 grant to the City of Geneva in the Finger Lakes region to rehabilitate a 6,000 square foot granary and warehouse at 36 Middle Street. As of July 2026, this project is complete at a total cost of approximately $1.7 million, with the city contributing $389,000 in equity. The building now features 9 apartments, including 5 market rate units and 4 units designated as affordable housing. For the second item, the directors are being asked to authorize a $3.5 million Round 9 grant to the city of Rome in the Mohawk Valley region. In July 2024, an F2 tornado ripped through downtown Rome, causing tens of millions of dollars in damage. The Rome Community Brownfield Restoration Corporation partnered with the city to fund the rehab of 2 properties at 220 South Madison Street and 522 Henry Street. The property at 522 Henry Street will be developed for commercial and event space, while 220 South Madison will become the largest available industrial space in the Utica-Rome metropolitan area. Repairs are estimated to be complete in November 2026, with the city spending a total of $3.9 million and contributing $469,000 in equity to the project. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Simone on either of these 2 grants? None. We don't have any comments from the public either, so I will move it. Hilda seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Simone, continue now with at the direction of projects.
Thank you. At the direction of grants, refer to those commitments listed in the New York State budget that originate from the governor, the New York State Assembly, or Senate. An ESD is named to administer the funding but does not select the recipients of funding. For the first item, the directors are asked to authorize a $13.2 million fiscal year 2025-26 special appropriation grant made at the direction of Assembly Speaker Carl Hastie of the 83rd District to the Brooklyn Public Library to perform emergency infrastructure, roof, and HVAC repairs at 17 library locations in Brooklyn. The project is being fully funded by New York State and is expected to be complete in 2028. For the second item, directors are asked to approve a $3.5 million fiscal year 2024-25 special appropriation grant made at the direction of the Executive Chamber to the Hispanic Federation Incorporated to perform construction and renovations to 13,000 square feet at its headquarters at 55 Exchange Place. The grant will facilitate the Federation's expansion of its services and programs. The $4.1 million project is estimated to be complete in March 2027, and the organization will finance the remainder of funding through a grant from New York City. The third item directors are being asked to authorize is a $7.5 million executive-sponsored special appropriation grant from fiscal year 2023-24 to the New York Historical Society. Funding will be used to create a new 71,000 square foot wing of the Society, the first expansion of its landmark campus in over a century. The wing will become home to the American LGBTQ+ Museum, New York's first museum dedicated to LGBTQ+ history and culture. The project also received a total of $750,000 from the Market New York program and $1 million from the Regional Council Capital Fund, both of which were previously presented by Andrew Fletcher earlier in this meeting, making the total funding to the project $92,250,000. The project broke ground in January 2023 and was completed last month at a total cost of $153 million. The next item the directors are being requested to approve is a $14 million grant to the Welcome World Foundation, Inc., a corporation formed in 2024 solely to support New York State, New York City, and New Jersey's joint sponsorship of FIFA's World Cup matches and related events. The grant was made at the direction of the Executive Chamber and supplements another $20 million in funding to the foundation previously approved by directors in October 2025. The grant will be used to complete funding for marketing, transportation, and regional fan engagements that took place in New York State during the Games. Next, the directors are being asked to approve a fiscal year 2025-26 grant of $700,000 to the Bronx Overall Economic Development Corporation at the direction of Assembly Speaker Carl Hastie of the 83rd District. The grant funds will be used to support the organization's general operations for business retention, small business assistance, and community engagement activities in the Bronx. Funding will be made available through December 2027. Finally, the directors are requested to approve an amendment to a previously approved $30 million working capital grant to 43 North LLC, a company formed in 2014 with the sole mission of organizing and administering a business competition plan to grow Western New York entrepreneurial community. The $30 million executive-sponsored grant is being amended to include 2 additional executive-sponsored appropriations, $5 million from 2026-27 and $8 million from 2021-22, totaling $8 million. These grants represent the state's final contribution to the annual competition that began in 2014. Through the last 11 rounds of the competition, 43 North has invested a total of $53 million in 74 companies from the life sciences, software manufacturing, and clean tech industries, and supported creations of over 1,000 Western New York-based jobs. And I can take any questions.
All right, that was a lot of grants, Simone. But as Simone mentioned, these are all directed by either the governor's office or the state legislature, and so we'll be supportive. This is the item that Hilda is going to recuse herself on. Since they're all lumped together, she won't vote on any of them. So we don't have any comments from the public. Do any board members have any questions on any of these items? Hearing none, so I will move it. Martha seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. The motion's carried. Thank you, Simone.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is Michelle Clark, our VP and Director of Workforce Development.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, Directors. The Directors are requested to approve the release of funding to Central State Corporation for Economic Opportunity in the amount of $6,560,252. This working capital grant through the Office of Strategic Workforce Development is part of the $80 million that the organization was awarded from the FY25 budget to establish a flagship workforce training center in Central New York as part of the One Network for Regional Advanced Manufacturing Partnerships initiative. The organization is now in phase 2 of the project. The funds will be used to support personnel costs, program expenses, outreach, and operational expenses. The center is expected to provide training for 400 individuals cumulatively across phase 1 and phase 2 by June 2027. We are recommending that the board authorize the release of funds to carry out this project, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Anybody have any questions for Michelle? No comments from the public. And so I will move it. John seconds it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries. All right, next up, we have Josh. Thank you. We have Josh and his team from Connect All with 3 different items, 3 different presentations, 3 different votes. So first up is Selena Gul Mohammed, our Senior Program Manager.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning. Thank you, members of the board, for the opportunity to bring this matter to you today. Connect All requests that the directors authorize 2 grant awards through the Municipal Infrastructure Program and the corresponding amendments to the general project plans. The first project, Connect All, seeks authorization to enter into a grant agreement with Franklin County for an amount not to exceed $1,710,000 to construct broadband infrastructure. In March 2026, the board approved an amendment of $5,847,120.57. Since that time, the county and Connect All have determined that the full scope cannot be achieved within the federally mandated timeframe required by the U.S. Treasury Department's funding source. Today's amendment adjusts the project to a level that can be achieved within the federal timeframe for an amount not to exceed $1,710,000. For the second project, Connect All seeks authorization to enter into a grant agreement with Schoharie County for an amount not to exceed $42,395,160.00 to construct broadband infrastructure. In December 2024, the directors approved a general project plan and a grant award of $30 million for this project. The general project plan has since been amended to account for underground construction, which is more expensive, but can be completed by the federal deadline. The grantees, grant amounts, and project descriptions are enumerated in the director's materials, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Great. Any questions for Selena? No? And no comments from the public either. So I will move it. Lorraine seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Thank you, Selena. Next up is Gabriella Christie, your program manager.
Thank you, Chair and members of the board.
The Connect All office requests that the directors authorize 4 grant awards and corresponding general project plans through the Connectivity Innovation Program. When Governor Hochul launched Connect All in 2022, her announcement included a grant program for connectivity innovation to provide competitive grants to entities statewide to pilot and construct creative, innovative, and new solutions pioneering future breakthroughs. In June 2024, the ESD board approved program guidelines as a foundational step to implement this vision. These are the first awards Connect All is bringing to the board for authorization under this program. Through implementing these projects, Connect All will identify scalable solutions to address gaps in wireless cellular coverage. The 4 projects will deliver innovative mobile service solutions that expand coverage to underserved and unserved communities throughout New York State. Connect All seeks approval to enter into grant agreements with Mohawk Valley Economic Development District, Inc. for an amount not to exceed $843,357 to address mobile coverage gaps in Otsego County through the deployment of wireless equipment on a county E911 tower. Intelibs, Inc. for an amount not to exceed $731,192.40 to expand campus-wide broadband wireless connectivity on Millneck Manor School for the Deaf and enable the usage of adaptive devices for the deaf student population. Economic Development Corporation, EDC Warren County, for an amount not to exceed $1,996,408.34 to build a mobile broadband network that will improve mobile connectivity and broadband capacity in Warren County in support of the Downtown Revitalization Initiative in Glens Falls and Lake George, and the City of Schenectady for an amount not to exceed $1,627,430.15 to expand public mobile broadband access for Bellevue neighborhood residents who do not have access to or whose service is limited by their geographic location or by socioeconomic conditions. With these 4 awards, the board will have approved a total of $5,198,387.89 in total for this program. I'm happy to take any questions.
All right. Thank you, Gabriella.
Thank you.
Any questions? None. No comments from the public either. I will move it. Francine seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you, Gabriella. And next up is Joshua Breitbart, our Senior VP for Connect All.
Thank you, Chair and members of the board, for the opportunity to bring this matter to you today. Connect All requests that the directors authorize taking of actions related to 9 provisional grant awards under the Connect All deployment program funded through the Federal Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program, known as the BEAD program. BEAD is a federal grant program administered by the National Telecommunications Information Administration, NTIA, which is a division of the U.S. Department of Commerce. The focus of the BEAD program is to expand access to reliable, high-speed internet across the country through federal funding of state and territory partnerships to build and expand broadband infrastructure. New York State was awarded a $665 million allocation under the BEAD program. Under the current terms of this federal grant award, NTIA is requiring that some form of subgrant agreement be reached between Connect All and its BEAD subgrantees by September 11, 2026. It should be noted that required environmental review processes have not been completed for any of these subgrant projects, and there are legal restrictions on the ability of the ESD board to approve projects for which environmental review has not been successfully completed. Notwithstanding, in an effort to comply with NTIA requirements, to the extent legally feasible, Connect All seeks authorization from the ESD board to enter into conditional subgrant agreements with BEAD subgrantees where funding commitments will be subject to successful completion and satisfaction of environmental review requirements. Following the execution of these conditional subgrant agreements, upon completion and satisfaction of requiring environmental review processes, the general project plans for these projects would be presented to the ESD board for review and approval, and would also be submitted for other required public processes, approval processes such as public hearings and Public Authorities Control Board review at that time. The 9 projects include, for the first conditional award, Connect All seeks authorization from the board to enter into a conditional subgrant agreement with Archtop Fiber, LLC, for an amount not to exceed $23,728,734.26 to serve 1,638 locations in 4 counties with fiber optic technology. Second, Connect All seeks authorization from the board to enter into a conditional subgrant agreement with CBN America LLC for an amount not to exceed $121,177,268 to serve 3,087 locations in 7 counties in the Shinnecock Reservation with fiber optic technology, as well as 18,098 locations in 29 counties in the Onondaga Reservation with fixed wireless technology. Third, Connect All seeks authorization from the board to enter into a conditional subgrant agreement with Citizens Telecommunications Company of New York, Inc., for an amount not to exceed $13,273,290.47 to serve 1,014 locations in Shenango County with fiber optic technology. Fourth, Connect All seeks authorization from the board to enter into a conditional subgrant agreement with Fidium Enterprises Services, Inc., for an amount not to exceed $5,454,547 to serve 1,083 locations in 3 counties with fiber optic technology. Fifth, Connect All seeks authorization from the board to enter into a conditional subgrant agreement with IBT Group USA, LLC, for an amount not to exceed $12,709,614.72 to serve 5,478 locations in 9 counties and the Oneida Indian Reservation with fixed wireless technology. Sixth, Connect All seeks authorization from the board to enter into a conditional subgrant agreement with Reasonable Telephone Company for an amount not to exceed $11,437,665 to serve 795 locations in Dutchess County with fiber optic technology. Seventh, Connect All seeks authorization from the board to enter into a conditional subgrant agreement with Space Exploration Technologies Corporation for an amount not to exceed $22,300,500 to serve 14,877 locations in 37 counties, the Allegheny Reservation, and the Oneida Indian Reservation with low Earth orbit satellite technology. Eighth, Connect All seeks authorization from the board to enter into a conditional subgrant agreement with Spectrum Northeast LLC for an amount not to exceed $21,038,640.44 to serve 416 locations in Chautauqua County and the Tuscarora Nation with fiber optic technology. Ninth, Connect All seeks authorization from the board to enter into a conditional subgrant agreement with Verizon New York, Inc. for an amount not to exceed $56,120,006 to serve 4,016 locations in 13 counties and the Tonawanda Reservation with fiber optic technology. Additional details are provided in the written board materials, including the 9 projects before you today. The total amount of grant awards authorized by the board under this program will be $287,240,265.89. I'm happy to take any questions.
That was a lot of projects.
Took work to get there.
Yes, I can tell. No, you and your team do a great job. $287 million out of the $650 million?
$664.6 million.
And that $664 million, is that the largest component of the overall Connect All, different programs that you're operating?
Yes, that federal allocation is approximately half, or a little bit more than half of everything that we have allocated to Connect All as part of the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act.
Got it. Very good. No, good luck. Filling in, as I said, gaps throughout the entire state.
Yeah, trying to get to the hardest to reach of the hardest to reach locations in the state.
Got it. Great. Anybody have any questions for Josh on any of these? All right. And you said you got each one, this is preliminary, and then each of the 9, when they're ready to go, you're going to bring them back before the board?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Very good. We don't have any comments from the public either, so I will move it. Hilda seconds them. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
Okay. Also live with us, we have Sylvia Codeny from New York Ventures.
Thank you. New York Ventures is asking for approval for an investment of up to $750,000 in Flux Intelligence Incorporated Series Seed Round. This investment will be made from the State Innovation Venture Capital Funds. Flux has previously received $500,000 from New York State through the Genius New York Accelerator. Flux is a Syracuse-based wildlife intelligence company. It deploys field-based sensor camera units that protect critical infrastructure around airports, roads, railways, and the electric grid. Flux devices watch and listen for nearby animals to determine their intent if they will or could harm the infrastructure, and then they safely steer them away without causing harm to the infrastructure or to the animals. The technology has been deployed now already in Europe and US in several airports and in pilots in several large infrastructure operations across the New York State. Proceeds from this financing will be used to support ongoing and new pilots with several customers here in the States and in the state, and to scale up the team in Syracuse. As part of the due diligence process, the New York State Innovation Venture Capital Fund staff and an external advisory committee have reviewed and evaluated the company, both the business plan and growth projects, as well as the terms of the investment. As a result of this analysis, both the staff and the advisory committee agree that the market opportunity and the growth potential of the company warrants an investment, and they recommend its approval.
Very good. Thank you, Sylvia. Sylvia, can we ever require companies that we invest in that they have to stay in New York? And if they get other investments and people are luring them to go to Boston or Silicon Valley or something, can we claw back the investment?
Yeah, actually, we always ask for that. From this program in particular, we ask for 3 years commitment, and there is a clause to claw back our investment if they move.
Great. I'm glad I asked. Thank you, Sylvia. Anybody else have any questions? And we don't have any comments from the public, so I will move it. Martha seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you, Sylvia. All right. Next up, I think we have John Evan Hornsby, President of Empire State New Market Corp.
Thank you, and good morning. Although the Empire State New Market Corporation directors approve projects for New Market's tax credit purposes, the UDC Act requires ESD directors to separately determine that any such projects would otherwise be approved by ESD and demonstrate certain goals detailed in your materials. On July 15, 2026, the ESNMC Board approved a federal New Markets tax credit allocation of up to $14 million to make investments to a borrower to finance equipment, inventory, and working capital for 3 Walgreens stores located in underserved, economically distressed rural communities in Johnstown, Liberty, and Norwich, New York. For 125 years, Walgreens has been a trusted presence in communities across the country, helping people live healthier lives through accessible care, trusted advice, and convenient neighborhood services. What began as a single corner pharmacy in 1901 has grown into one of the nation's leading retail pharmacy providers while remaining committed to its core mission of improving community health and wellness. Today, Walgreens offers far more than prescription services, providing specialty pharmacy care, health and wellness programs, vaccinations, preventive care, health screenings, and both virtual and in-person clinic visits. As traditional healthcare infrastructure continues to decline, particularly in rural communities, Walgreens has increasingly become a vital community healthcare hub. Despite its essential role, Walgreens is facing significant financial challenges nationwide, with rural stores experiencing some of the greatest pressures. As part of its nationwide restructuring following its transition to private ownership in 2025, Walgreens has announced plans to close approximately 1,200 stores. Among those identified as being at risk of closure are the Johnstown, Liberty, and Norwich locations, each serving communities with a disproportionately high percentage of low-income residents and government-paid patients. The NMTC financing will support equipment, inventory, and working capital necessary to maintain operations at these locations. The continued operations of these 3 pharmacies is critical to the health and well-being of the communities they serve. Located in federally designated primary care shortage areas, these stores provide access not only to prescription medications, but also to vaccinations, preventive care, health screenings, and other essential healthcare services that many residents would otherwise struggle to obtain. They also serve as an important source of affordable household groceries and health and wellness products. Collectively, the project is expected to serve more than 372,000 individuals annually and approximately 58% of whom are low income, while creating and retaining 47 jobs and preserving essential healthcare access in these rural communities. New York State legislation requires ESD to select and prioritize projects demonstrating certain goals. Based on the anticipated community impacts, the project was selected for its goals of creating and retaining jobs in low-income communities and increasing the provision of goods and services for low-income community residents which would otherwise not be available at the same price or quality. By adopting ESNMC's general project plan, finding the project achieved one or more of the goals, and making all other required findings, including conducting a hearing and an environmental review, this project would be authorized by the UDC Act and is being requested for approval by ESD today. Thank you, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Good. Well done. Hilda?
Just have a question.
Yeah. No, do you have a question? Yeah.
Do we have any guarantee that they're going to remain open? I mean, they closed all of the stores in Rochester.
Yeah, so the New York Tax Credit financing is meant to bridge the financing to keep them open for a period. This is a 7-year compliance period that they have to remain open. There's no guarantee that they will remain open past that, but they've made assurances that they would that this financing will help them stay open for the next hopefully 7 years.
I think that in the meantime, they may look for others to move there to take over because, I mean, they have closed all over the stores.
Yeah, it's a challenging time for the industry.
Yeah.
Rite Aid has gone bankruptcy, and they've taken over a lot of those stores. So it's a challenging time for the industry for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, my initial reaction when I see Walgreens, I'm like, why would we be helping Walgreens? But I think your presentation was excellent because I think we're spoiled downstate with basically a CVS, a Walgreens, or a Duane Reade on every other corner. And I can't imagine, being in an area that's underserved, especially if you have small children or elderly parents, and it's your only source, not only a place to get prescriptions, but maybe a supermarket type, in addition to other things. So, so it sounds worthy, despite what's happening in the industry. So, but I think you did a good job setting the table for that. So I will move it. John, you second it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. And by the way, we had no comments from the public on that either. So thank you. John Evan, you got another one for us?
Yes, thanks again. On July 15, 2026, the ESNMC Board also approved a federal New Markets tax credit allocation of up to $14 million to make investments to a borrower to finance the purchase of equipment, inventory, and working capital to upgrade infrastructure and modernize a 30,000 square foot food distribution facility in Gloversville, New York. Harvest Prime is a New York-based wholesale food distribution business focused on acquiring, stabilizing, and modernizing essential food supply infrastructure that serves rural and economically distressed communities throughout New York State. The company currently serves as a cornerstone of the regional food supply chain in which it performs the essential function of ensuring that affordable, high-quality, nutritional resources remain accessible to the underserved rural populations and low-income neighborhoods of New York State. Harvest Prime connects farms and food producers with commercial customers. Its product portfolio includes fresh fruits and vegetables, premium beef, pork, poultry, and seafood, locally grown farm products, specialty and gourmet foods, and dairy and grocery essentials. Its customers include small retailers, independent grocers, restaurants, schools, healthcare providers, and nonprofit institutions. Harvest Prime is a holding company of two food distribution companies, Antonucci Wholesale Foods LLC and Syracuse Banana LLC. Harvest Prime purchased the companies in 2005 and is investing in technology, equipment, and infrastructure to modernize and grow the businesses. Antonucci Wholesale Foods operates two sites, one in Gloversville, New York, and another in Athens, New York. The project involves the modernization, stabilization, and business expansion of the 30,000 square foot food distribution center in Gloversville, New York, operated by Antonucci Wholesale Foods. ESNMC's financing will allow the business to upgrade equipment and infrastructure and invest in inventory and other working capital needs to allow the company to grow and respond to increased market demand. By upgrading this facility post-acquisition, Harvest Prime plans to secure the long-term viability of a vital link in the regional food supply chain. By strengthening cold chain reliability and logistics performance, the project will continue to support food access, price stability, and service continuity. Based on the anticipated community impacts, the project was selected for its goals of creating and retaining jobs in low-income communities and supporting efforts that otherwise benefit low-income community residents by leveraging further investment in their communities. By adopting ESNMC's general project plan, finding the project achieved one or more of the goals, and making all other required findings, including conducting a hearing and an environmental review, this project would be authorized by the UDC Act and is being requested for approval by ESD today. Thank you, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, John Evan. Another nice, worthy initiative and project. We don't have any comments from the public. Do any board members have questions? All right, so I'll move this. Lorraine seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you, John Evans. All right. And last up is our administrative actions. Doug Janice, our senior counsel.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, directors. As a reminder, in order to help streamline your board meetings, we implemented the oral summary presentation process in connection with the administrative action section of your agenda. So you receive a full set of the written descriptive materials for each of these items in your board materials, but rather than having individual oral presentations, I'm going to provide you with a brief summary of all the items, and at the conclusion, we can entertain any questions or comments that the directors might have. The 4 administrative action items for July are summarized as follows. Item 8A is relative to authorization to amend the contract with Flow and Partners Worldwide, Inc. for marketing services. The directors are requested to authorize the corporation to exercise the second and final option year to extend the corporation's existing marketing services contract with Flow and Partners Worldwide, Inc., doing business as Campbell Eward, through March of 2028. This option will increase the contract value by an amount not to exceed $60 million for a total contract value not to exceed $210 million, which continues to be in line with the forecasted budget allocations and spend levels from the original request for proposals. Item 8B is relative to authorization to amend the contract with Dollaride, Inc. for third-party grant administrator services. The directors are requested to authorize the corporation to enter into a contract amendment with Dollaride, Inc. to continue to provide grant and contract administrative services for the Commuter Van Stabilization Grant Program. The first 2 years of the program have been a success, with more than $4 million in grants going to van operators across New York City. The contract amendment will permit the program to run for 2 additional years at an additional cost not to exceed $750,000, bringing the total contract cost to an amount not to exceed $1,750,000. Item 8C is relative to authorization to enter into a contract with Zoom Communications, Inc. to renew enterprise licenses and add telephone services. The directors are requested to authorize the corporation to enter into a contract with Zoom Communications, Inc. to renew 850 existing Zoom enterprise licenses and to add telephone services that will replace ESD's existing 8x8 telephone infrastructure. This contract is for 2 years for an amount not to exceed $754,010.59, inclusive of the contingency. And finally, item 8D is relative to authorization to enter into a contract amendment with Adler and Stockenfeld LLP for real estate legal services. The directors are requested to authorize the corporation to enter into a contract amendment with the law firm of Adler and Stockenfeld LLP for real estate legal services in connection with the Haverstraw Chair Factory Redevelopment Project in Rockland County. This amendment is necessary to accommodate certain post-closing legal work that cannot be completed until construction is finished. The amendment will add $75,000 to the total contract and extend the contract for 2 years, with the option to extend the term for up to 2 additional years at the discretion of the General Counsel. I will now turn it back to our chair, who will call for any questions or comments you may have on these items before calling for a vote. And we also have item-related staff on the line today to take any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thanks, Doug. Anybody have any questions on any of these admin items? None. We don't have any comments from the public either. So we'll move it. Francine will close out the vote with her second. And all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you, Doug. That concludes our official business for the day. Do any directors have any other business or matters that they'd like to raise at this time?
Are we meeting in August?
I'm sorry?
Are we meeting in August?
No, I was just about to say that. Thank you for reminding me, Hilda. There is no August meeting, and our next meeting is not going to be scheduled, is not scheduled until September 17th. So I'm going to ask Debbie for next year, we should try and not have a July meeting either. Like a lot of boards do, they don't meet in July or August, and give staff a break, because I know on some of the prep calls and people are chiming in from vacations and stuff. And so maybe that requires a busy June meeting and a busy September meeting, but maybe we could give the board and the team, the staff, a break in July and August. Just an idea. Second, okay.
Yes.
It wasn't a motion, but we'll take it up. And it was a second. And all board members unanimously vote yes. But if we
Record some skepticism. Above it, but I think it might be hard.
It might be hard, but you guys can look into it. And, or maybe we could have sort of a tentative date for next July. And if you guys could swing it. What's that?
All my colleagues are hating it.
Guys, I'm looking out for you. I'm looking out. So just remember, this Kevin is trying to be sensitive to your summer schedules. That Kevin is trying to. No. So anyway, so do that. So otherwise, no, seriously, I hope you all enjoy the rest of the summer. Nice time to recharge on your own with your families and loved ones. So do that. We here on the board appreciate, I say this often, the professionalism here at this agency and the hard work that you guys all do. And so take the time. Nobody's going to pat you on the back for not using your vacation time. Use it. It's a good time to recharge. And so we wish you well, and we will see you in September. All right? Thanks. See ya. Okay.